And note that all three members are present. Ask you to stand. Mr. Burton's going to lead us in prayer, and I'll lead us in the pledge.
Okay, shall we pray? Our Father, we thank you for who you are, for your watch and care over us as we proceed with everyday activities. Now be with us during this meeting. In your name, amen.
Amen. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you. Please be seated. Moving right into our agenda, first informational items. We have claims, minutes, and payroll. With regard to claims, March 28th, we had a pre-approval of invoice edit reports. That was the general batch at $335,487.55. Other batch, $90,075.59. And the highway batch at $26,878.50 for a grand total $452,441.19. Again, that was a pre-approval, so we would need a motion to ratify the pre-approval.
Motion to approve.
Mr. Burton made a motion to approve the pre-approval. Mr. Mowry seconded. Any discussion or questions on those bills, gentlemen? Hearing none, all in favor would say aye.
Aye.
Aye. It is carried unanimously. As well, we have today's invoice edit reports. General batch includes $67,870.31. The other batch, $98,805.55. Highway batch, $139,653.57 for a grand total of $306,329.43. We would need a motion to approve the invoice edit reports.
Second.
Motion, Mr. Mowry, to approve that payout. Second, Mr. Burton. Any other questions on those bills? Hearing none, all those in favor would say aye.
Aye.
Aye. It's carried. And you had the opportunity to start signing those, Mike?
Okay.
Why don't we go ahead and start signing those? We also have payroll number 7 with regard to pre-approval. Pre-approval was given on the 29th of March. Gross amount $524,934.72, and that was paid out on April 1st. So we would need a motion to ratify the pre-approval.
Motion to ratify. Second.
Motion, Mr. Mowry, second, Mr. Burton. All those in favor would say aye.
Aye.
Aye. It is carried. When it comes to payroll, I don't think we even need to discuss that. That was pretty cut and dried on that. All right, we do have for minutes, we have 3 regular sessions, Monday, September the 20th, Monday, October 4th, Monday, October 18th of 2021. All these have been edited and proofed, and I would recommend that we approve those minutes.
Motion to approve. Second.
Motion, Mr. Burton, second, Mr. Mowry. Do you have any questions on those at all, gentlemen? Hearing none, all those in favor would say aye.
Aye.
Aye. It is carried unanimously. And now we go to receipt of monthly reports for the Clerk of Courts, month ending February 28 of 22, as well as the receipt of weights and measures for January and February. We can receive those with your consent or a motion, doesn't matter.
Motion to approve.
Okay. Are you consenting to that motion to receive those reports? Very good. We have no questions on them. All in favor would say aye.
Aye.
Aye. We've received the clerk reports and the weights and measures reports as presented. Communication board updates. We'll start with the auditor's office and work around the room.
Couple things I'll note. One, we did have the commissioner sale this past Friday, April 1st. I'd say pretty successful, like just over 1/3 of the parcels involved were sold. So to me, that was a pretty good number. And we had had one since 2019, so it's been a couple years since we had that. But anyway, that sale took place Friday and went well, I believe.
Do we have an electronic form so we can see what went and what didn't? Is there a way for
I
us
don't
to?
know that I can do that. I'm not aware of that. Maybe SRI does.
Maybe
I'm not
SRI
sure.
does.
Maybe, yeah. I'm
If
not
we
sure.
could just put a request out to them so we can see what did go,
Yeah, I can have April look into that and see.
I would appreciate that.
Yeah. But anyway, pretty successful sale, I believe.
Good.
Other thing I want to note would be, we did have the audit result from 2021. The Board of Accounts and the State 9/11 Board reviews the 9/11 fund transactions. And I do want to note to you that, if you recall, last year we had a lot of things that they questioned because of the project at Salem Bank. And in 2021, they did question a total of $39,465.39, and $38,500 of that roughly is because of some bills we paid to Hamilton Hunter on the project. And it finished up what we owed that company on their piece of the project. And we did pay it out of the 9/11 fund. They're saying we should not use 9/11. And I'm not even going to dispute it at this point. I'm just going to.
You don't want to dispute, you're just going to say, okay, we'll shift.
We're just going to we're going to transfer out of the general fund and put it back into the 9/11 fund.
Okay.
So that was most of it. There's a couple of small things that the department purchased, I'll say small equipment type items that they said you shouldn't have done. So we're going to reimburse that from general fund as well. Those totaled about, let's see, $700 and some probably total for the year. So bottom line is we're doing a transfer from general fund to 911 fund to reimburse that fund for these items. So that, and I'll respond to them, let them know we've done that, and that it'll be wrapped. So, okay, just wanted to note that.
Thank you.
Yeah.
All right, next in the room is Bob. I saw Bob. At least I saw him in the doorway.
I'm here.
Okay.
Morning, Commissioners.
Morning.
So we did have an EOC briefing this morning. COVID is, I don't want to say doing well, but the numbers are a lot better. Even over last year, we were 260 some last March. We were 88 this past month. So the report from the hospital this morning, they are doing well. They are seeing some cases of influenza. It seems to spike at certain days, and that causes a little bit of an issue just due to staffing. But hospital's doing well, health department's doing well, so we are on the road to recovery at this point. We are watching some things over in Asia. There is some outbreaks still going on, so we will watch that as we move forward.
I'm trying to think of something. Any updates on towers?
Yes, so as of last week, I was to all 3 sites, and I know Todd's here in the room today. All 3 sites were, at least the base levels were up, and so they'll continue, and then Todd will probably have a report for here in a little bit, but we're hoping this week, next, that they'll begin to stack the rest of the heights up. And really by mid-April, I would say, certainly end of April, we should have all 3 sites at full height, and they'll start hanging radio equipment.
Very good.
Yep.
Any other questions for EMA?
I do have, I don't know if you want to come back and do it, or you want to do the appointment now for the policy board. I can come back.
Yeah, we'll come back for
Okay,
Brad.
no problem. Thank you.
Thank you. All right, other elected officials, committees? All right, let's go to IT then. I snitch that back.
Yes.
Good morning, gentlemen. Yep, so I have a couple of things for you today, so I'll just start off with a couple of my questions or clarifications. So the first thing is regarding the RFP process. A couple of weeks ago, I went up front to the council and requested permission to get quotes on different lease options. But I know, which they approved, but I know you was saying like we would have to do almost something like an RFP, but for the lease stuff, if I remember correctly. So I was just wanting to get clarification on that part.
If I help us out here, Jim, because you didn't hear all the conversation we had at the council. We're getting ready to pay out of what we previously leased, is that correct?
Oh, we already paid that off last year.
We paid that off.
Mhm.
We are going to need to get new equipment that is leasable. We haven't budgeted for this, and most likely we're going to need a loan to take care of this. Is that what we're thinking? But our annual budget will pay for that. His budget would pay for that lease.
Okay,
Right.
I thought you were gonna do a lease, not a loan.
Yeah, it's a lease.
Okay.
Yeah.
You used you did set, the appropriations in the general fund were set up to accommodate that lease payment. as well,
Yeah,
right?
because it was set up for the storage, but the cost of all that equipment is gonna line up with the storage. So basically, since we paid our storage off, I was just gonna take the monies that we were using for that, and just put it towards this new purchase, so that way we're not adding anything.
I'm not sure what account that appropriation's in right
It
now.
would just come out of our IT equipment.
Okay, so there is a line with that amount in it that would cover that cost. So
Yeah.
I thought from an appropriation standpoint, you're fine.
So we're free to go ahead and request the quotes on the lease.
Yeah, I'd say, yeah, you want to get some quotes for the lease, so you take the best quote available to you as far as what the lease would be, I think.
Right.
But the appropriation's there, from my understanding.
Okay.
Earlier conversation, so I was thinking.
Yeah, it's there, we're just using, instead of it going to the storage, it'd just be going towards all this other equipment.
And it's part of the equipment line, which is capital, it's a capital line,
Okay.
so I think that should be fine.
So we're good now? We're all on the same page?
As far as appropriations go, and then a matter of just
Yeah.
getting quotes to see what you want to
Yeah.
accept as far as the lease goes.
So yeah, then we have to go up front to the council, and then they'll bless whichever one, then I don't know, we'll have to come back and, or you guys.
So I would think
have
you want to bring
make
the, whatever you receive as quotes, you want to bring back to this body, let them approve.
Yeah, ultimately, we'll
Okay.
approve and sign the lease.
Right.
Yeah.
Okay, all right, yep, that's perfect.
And then again, I'd go to the council, say, hey, we've got this arrangement.
All right,
That's what it is.
gotcha. Yep, we can do that. The second question I had was for the, I think it was a couple of commissioner meetings ago. I gave you all the agreement for the AT&T fiber stuff for the towers for that project. So I was just kind of curious if anything else has been discussed on it. Our vendor, our sales rep was just kind of wondering where it was at.
I can assure you, we have not discussed that.
Yeah, okay.
We've actually had another group besides AT&T that wants to talk to us about a fiber option, so
Okay,
we'll have to start comparing the
right.
two options, so.
Okay, all right. Well, like I said, he was wanting to know, and I was curious since it'd been a while since anybody said anything about it, so. Then, for the money stuff, well, I guess before I get to that, just to kind of update you on the security upgrades we have been implementing just due to everything that's been going on in the world. We recently integrated the two-factor authentication for all county emails. So I'm sure many employees have gotten the prompt on their phones and stuff like that. So we've been helping people set that up, but it's been fully turned on and it's on everybody's stuff, so. And
Besides
that's-
making us take an extra step, Marcus, what does this do for the county?
Well, basically, it just helps ensure, you are who you say you are when you sign in. So if I was to take Justin's email and password and go to sign in, that two-factor is gonna say, hey, what's your code? The thing is, I'm not gonna have his phone or his authenticator app code. So that just stops it right there. So even if they have the username and password, they can't move.
So hopefully, this is gonna prevent even more hacking than
Correct, yes.
in the future. And I'm looking to Justin now. if I recall correctly, once we stepped into this, we might see some type of break on our liability insurance as well. It seemed like Greg had talked about that opportunity.
I'll let him know that we've at least
Yeah,
gone
he,
down that road.
When I spoke with him over the phone, he said we would get a better rate if we were to implement it. So I worked with Justin, we set up the time to do it.
Yeah, if we don't,
I got done a couple weeks early.
check with our insurance people and see if we've
Yeah.
done a good thing.
Yeah, absolutely. And currently I'm in the process of talking with a couple other vendors for two-factor on our servers and our firewall. So we're looking to get those locked down because that was something else they were, they didn't say we had to have it, but they were kind of wanting us to, and it's something I've been working towards anyway. It's just one of those things where I'm having to do it now, just so we're covered. And the other part of it was, which brought pricing here today, is for cloud backups. As you gentlemen know, it's, backups and stuff like that in the cloud are pretty expensive. I spoke with our backup rep, and she recommended a company called Wasabi, and they're a younger company. They've been around a couple years, and they were able to offer us 30 terabytes of storage for our cloud backups, and it works with our backup software. And the total for that per year is $2,247.26. So I was just wanting to move forward with that. If they give us another landing spot for our backups. These backups will also be, they're called immutable. So basically we set a policy up when these backups go into the cloud, they can't be touched for 30 days. So if somebody was to somehow compromise or get into our system, they can't delete those backups from the cloud. So it provides an extra layer of protection.
Well, I'm all in favor of extra layer protection. The thing I would ask is, have we bounced this off of EMA? Because again, his Homeland Security connections, want to make sure that this would be a company that Homeland Security would approve.
I can't say I haven't.
I'd like to see if there are any concerns or thumbs up with that type of security measure.
Yeah, and like I said, the company, they're based out of United States, and the servers where it would be stored at would be in Virginia. So it's in the U.S. I know that's a requirement that we have to be on since we're government. So, but yeah, I can talk to Bob. And,
Yeah, I'd like to see that layer of.
Yeah, absolutely. Okay, well, like you said, I'll just hold off on that one then. Then the other one I had was for the coroner's office. They have a little small copier, and basically, from what I was told, they have kind of outgrown that machine, so they're needing some that's able to do color, and they're also they need to be able to print on, I think it's 11.5 by 14 or 11.5 by 17, so they're basically needing a full-sized copier. So I got some pricing from from Applied Imaging, and basically it would just be an addendum, so we'd have to work with the auditor's office on that to get that added in, but I think he said it was like an extra $80 a month to get that added in, so I just wanted to get your gentleman's thoughts on it.
And that's considered a lease again.
Yeah, it'd just be an addendum to that existing lease, which we've done a couple times last year. Anytime we go to add a device.
I don't know, a couple of us might be prejudiced to the coroner's office. What do you think?
I would be.
I remember when I was there, and probably you were there, we were still using onion paper on the fax machine. Back in the old days.
No,
So I think it's a smart move for us to move forward. I know that they have to produce death certificates and some intricate paperwork, so I would be in favor of moving forward on that.
Yeah, and like I said, we in IT, we have an older copier as well, so, and I hardly print, so if need be, I mean, with them not being there some days, I mean, we'd be able to utilize it as well, so that'd be a newer, more efficient machine. So maybe we could potentially eliminate the machine that's in our office and help save it even more money that way, take that old machine off.
He's getting an upgrade and he's saving us money, isn't it?
Yeah, that's just an idea, but yeah, they were really needing it just for the 8.5 by 11 stuff in the collar, so.
Gentlemen, with your consent, we'll allow him to move forward on that. All right?
All right, sounds good. Then I think that's all I have, gentlemen. You need anything from me, or?
Well, you already got us to spend some money today,
Yeah.
so.
Like I said, I'll be back for the other stuff later.
I bet you will.
Yeah.
That's
Thank you so-
enough, that's enough.
Okay, thanks again, gentlemen.
Thank you. David?
Good morning.
Sir.
First thing I was gonna bring up is I got an unofficial detour from the state. I've been working with them for probably almost a month. It's on State Road 5, just south of Van Buren. They're replacing a bridge deck there, or working on it. They finally got me the paperwork last Friday. The route I asked to use for an unofficial detour would be 300 north to 1000 east, and then back to 400 north on the east side of Van Buren. So if you guys would like to approve it, needs all 3 signatures if you'd like to accept it.
I wouldn't have any objections to that detour. I think, again, we, by our consent, are approving that.
Just to update you on a few other things, I do have the asphalt bid set up for next meeting, April 18th, for 2022 season. And that's just for the hot mix, not the liquid asphalt. Pennsylvania Street Bridge, I think I told you the last meeting we was planning on paving or doing the deck like the day after or something, weather didn't allow it. Their plan was to do it today and tomorrow, and we seen what the weather was gonna be like this week, so we actually did it on Saturday morning. So we started at 8 and got done about 3:30, 4 o'clock on Saturday. So the deck is poured. We have to do the approach work and everything else and painting the beams. But I would say that hopefully I'm supposed to have a meeting with them tomorrow, and I'll kind of update you what our schedule is on getting that back opened up, so hopefully sooner the better, so. That's all I have today, unless you do.
Oh, I've got one for you.
Okay,
It's hot off the email press.
okay.
The email we got this morning, I believe it was from IDEM, reference the mulch for recycling center.
I didn't see that one. I'll have to check it.
We did not get our application in, and they want to know whether we're going to turn one in or not. It went to Tony, but I think you were copied on it, so.
Do we have to do one every year? Because they come and check us every year.
They said we expired,
Oh, okay. I'll check on that.
So-
Yeah.
definitely need to know.
Yeah, I was gonna say, I know they come out 2 or 3 times a year and check it, so I'll make sure we get updated. I'm still working on Crane Pond, so
Okay,
I talked to Mary earlier this morning, so I'll work on that, try to get, I got some other ideas I probably need to talk to Pat on, so.
yeah, I think the big question is that we get some type of recorded easement as quick as possible, so.
Yeah. That's all I have.
Other questions for highway?
You.
I do have one more.
Mm-hmm.
When are you going to 10-hour shifts?
Oh, I would like to do it April 18th, if that's all right, because the week before is Good Friday, so I really don't want to do it then, so,
Week after Easter?
yeah, if that's all right.
Seem to work out pretty good that we rotate into a 10-hour shift during the summertime, and it gets
Yeah,
us more done.
I was gonna do it the week after, because I knew we'd be off on Friday anyways, if that's all right, so.
Any objections?
Thank you.
Proceed, thank you, sir. All right. Moving to old business, we have the Mresco Asset Planners Space Planning Proposal. I don't see Brad here, I do see Mark. Anything that you need to prompt us on, sir?
Morning, Commissioners. For the record, Mark Harebrant, Senior Account Executive with Mresco. Brad couldn't be here today, and so I'm kind of filling in for him to answer any questions that you have about the building study. I think it's a great investment to be able to get your arms wrapped around what you have in your facilities and to be able to have a plan put together to strategically get those buildings either improved or look at moving to a different direction.
We've worked with the council, talked to them about it. I told them that we would review this, and I hope that we've kind of got a compromise. There was quite a bit of an objection to the space planning for analysis, but I still feel strongly we need to have that facilities condition assessment planning module. That would cost us $19,820 and then $4,265 for the first year, and thereafter software fees for the next 4 years. And so, again, I kind of liken this to every 4 years we have to have a bridge inspection agreement, and it tells how our bridges are, what's good, what needs potential replacing, those things that are critical in nature. And this facilities assessment and planning gives us kind of that type of model, doesn't it?
It does, and we'll break everything out so you have line items to be able to pick and choose, you know, what you may want to do and what you may not want to do.
I've been in discussion with several of council, and they're opposed to this expenditure. And they asked me to vote no, and I'm going to honor that.
Understand?
Okay. Well, we'll be open for discussion if we want to have a motion. What we would do, I think we initially put it on the council agenda that we would be bringing a request for appropriation. I think that's what we did.
We, our office did just place the ad for additional appropriations for this coming month's meeting, and that is one item that's on there. I think we put a flat 20,000 on for this purpose at your request. That's what we've done.
Okay. So we can discuss and we can vote it up or vote it down, and it won't affect what the council does. They can either keep it on the agenda or take it off the agenda, depending. So, again, my whole concern with this is, even if we are to say we're going to start moving toward a new campus, we still have to maintain and take care of these buildings, and we really don't know what's in great shape, what's in moderate shape, what's in poor shape, unless we have a coil explosion over at the courthouse, or we have toilets that burst, and then we're in a reactive mode to fix them. I think this tool, even at $20,000, will allow us to pinpoint things. We still have to maintain our house until we decide to move to a different house, and I just think that it makes sense for us to do this. So
I'm voting no.
So we need to decide whether we're going to make a motion and have a vote, or whether we're going to let it die, Mike. So
Well, I'm willing to make the motion if you want to vote on it.
sure, yeah.
Okay, I make the motion for the asset plan and space plan proposal.
I'll second that. Doing so, now we have more time to discuss. You kind of said the thoughts of the council. Is there anything else that you want to add to that discussion?
No, based on that though, I'm voting no.
Understand.
I just want to make sure I'm clear. Are you saying you're going to sign the contract for that now, or is it still pending council approval of the appropriation?
It would have to be pending the appropriation.
I was assuming, if not, well, make
Yeah.
sure that's what you're thinking. Okay.
Yeah, because that's what we said, we would bring it back if it passed for the appropriation process. Any other thoughts, Mike, before we vote?
No.
Okay. All right, we will call for the vote on the moving forward with asset planning module as presented, and seek the appropriation from the council. All those in favor would say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Those opposed? No?
No.
All right, it's carried 2-1 negative, and again, that goes to the council, and we'll see if they want to fund it or not. All right,
Thank you, Commissioners.
thank you.
Appreciate it.
All right, Pyramid, Todd Journal. Did I say that right, Todd?
Yeah, that's how my grandparents pronounced it.
They didn't call you anything else?
Well,
How about your parents? Did they say the same?
I wanna know what they called you.
what,
I'm
What, was it a kind nickname or
Yeah.
not?
Was it a kind name or?
usually, if I was in trouble, the middle name got thrown in.
All right, good.
Thank you.
We've got several different things, unfinished business from prior meetings. One is the claim package 12, which I don't have any new information for you. He flew into town, flew out of town, and I don't have new information on that, so we'll just leave that.
So packet 12 is stalled.
Yep.
Okay.
The second thing is the change order that we had put on for MPX to do the fencing work around the towers. We're not gonna use MPX. We found another vendor, which leads to the claim that we slipped in at the last minute. We're gonna do it as a reimbursable under Pyramid. Hire this guy, but he needs a deposit to get the steel ordered. And so what we want to do is get a claim for that amount, which is,
That claim is that's the very last item in your packet.
Yes, and that's the 32,455 and 58 cents.
right,
29,400 is for this fencing claim.
So there's something else besides fencing
Yeah,
that's there.
there's testing and there's travel and lot and mileage.
concrete testing from Alt Witzig for 2482.12, and then more mileage, 573.44. So yeah, so the fencing for Top Choice is 29.4, and this will allow us to pay that deposit, get them on the schedule. We were really wanting to stack towers this week, but I talked to the guys this morning, weather's gonna keep us from getting to it this week. They fought wind last week, getting that third tower base built. So we're looking at maybe next week to stack them. The fence guy is 3 weeks out on his scheduling, so, and why I pushed to bring this before you now, so that whatever we do with him, it's 3 weeks, and it's 3 weeks beyond when we're gonna have our tower stacked. So I want to get this to you, get it approved, and get him on the calendar with his project.
So the fencing, that is still staying in the scope or less than what we had already agreed to?
Yeah, the MPX was about 25,000 per site, 75,000 for the whole kit and caboodle. This comes in about 52. I had a guy from Kosciuszko County that was really cheap, and tried to get him to come down and do it, and he wouldn't do it. But I think he had steel that was on hand and hadn't gone through all the price increases. And so for their job, and then if he was ordering new stuff, he would have been higher anyway. So, I mean, the quotes are good for 2 weeks, because steel prices just go up every 2 weeks.
Todd, do you have a contract or some kind of paperwork to support this at this point or not?
Did they send that along to you? I've got
I don't mind.
I've got their proposal that I signed, that lists all of that detail.
I don't mind the commissioners approving the concept of them doing the work.
Yeah.
But I don't want to see them agreeing to make a payment to you till we have a contract, something that supports what we're agreeing to at this point. That's my only concern. I don't know what your reaction is to that, but.
And I thought they were forwarding that on to you, but apparently not. I will get that to you.
I mean, if you have to pay them first, which you're saying this is a reimbursable, I mean, it's,
Yeah.
I mean, you have to do what you have to do, but I think this group here needs to see some kind of document that supports what we're agreeing to, what we're gonna pay for.
Sure.
If this is half, it's $58,800, not 52. No, that's, the thing says 50%
Yeah.
down. So
And that general.
I get the impression, we want to do something, but we don't have the document or the final situation
Exactly.
nailed down at this point. So I'm not comfortable sending you a check for $29,400 right now without really this group knowing what they're paying for.
Okay.
Having an agreement.
I will get you that backup documentation for your next meeting.
It's the 17th.
Yeah.
The
I could.
It's 18.
I could
18th. Thank you. Easter's 17th. Yes. What am I thinking?
All right.
I think the only other option we could have is that the commissioners could authorize the president to release the funds after the proper documentations come in. Kind of like we're giving the president pre-approval to forward this on as a pre-approval once we actually have the documents.
That would help. I mean, if you guys, because literally I could.
That puts the onus on you guys.
No, I could go and dig the email up and forward it right on.
I don't know if that's something that
From the back.
would work.
I think it's fine. I don't want to be too critical. We've had a hard time getting documents at this point.
Yeah, and I fully understand it, and that's why, I know I've got that document that I can share with you. I can dig it up and forward that to you immediately. But this is time critical stuff that I wanna.
I don't want your emergency to make our emergency until you have things together for us.
I understand. And then the other thing on there, Justin, is there's a claim for Rex Collins Electric for work in these shelters for the towers.
We have contract and that's completed at PAC, right? Collins is done.
They will have, does it say 100%?
No, it's not done.
No, they will have.
There's like
a little bit
20,000
more.
left. There's still like 20,000 uncompleted
Yeah.
work.
He will connect all the lights as we stack them, the lights from the towers. So he will be back to do that, and then we still have commissioning of the generator and UPS to take care of. So there will be a little bit left with them. What does he show? 91.4%.
Just as a thought for you too, and I know you don't approve these forms, Todd. I just got this morning before it came to this meeting, so I looked at it just briefly. But there is a little mathematical error in this scenario. It's pennies, it's small, but the payment of $48,483 is fine, as long as the commissioners approve that. But the actual balance to finish is not quite mathematically correct on here. It's just minor amounts off, obviously, but
Okay.
But it's been approved, and I think they ought to make sure they look at the math a little closer.
Right,
make
before
sure
we
it's
settle
safe.
out the retainage and everything, that, I mean.
The retainage has probably been done a little wrong, it's the
That's
5%
probably where you
piece, it's
get
not
those.
quite right, but anyway, it's,
Yeah, so when we settle up, I mean, even though we're asking for approval of this claim for this amount, by the time we settle with Rex Collins.
I'll make sure it's the right amount, I will, I mean, obviously, but I'm just letting you know, there's some mathematical errors in this thing.
There's fencing needed at dispatch, right? For around the generator, is that included?
We
Or
did
is this
not,
just
this is just for the towers, yeah, I did not include it, we could get a quote for that.
I think we probably need to do that.
Yep, we need to do that.
We'll get you.
So if I'm gleaning everything properly, we can move forward on the Rex Collins, $48,483. We can approve that for payment. Then secondarily, we can look at the Pyramid Architect Engineering Professional Services line and authorize the president to approve once the appropriate documents have arrived. Is that right? Sounds good? All right. I threw all that at you. Now does somebody want to do a motion?
Okay, I'll make the motion that what you mentioned be included.
Okay, that would be approval of the Rex Collins,
Yes.
$48,483.
Yes.
And then authorize the president to release funds for the professional services once the appropriate documentation has been filed.
Yes.
That's the entire $32,455.36.
That would be my intent.
Okay.
Is that good for you? Second. Any other discussion or questions, gentlemen? Hearing none, all those in favor would say aye.
Aye.
Aye. It is carried.
Mark, let me take you back to number 12. This was part of your action just now. I wasn't here last meeting. I just want to make sure we're clear. And I think Todd mentioned it in his comments. On the one from back at 12, am I correct? The 5,000 was approved last time.
That's correct.
Okay. So the miscellaneous, the reimbursable amounts have not been approved.
Right.
Those are pending. Okay.
Right, that's where he needed to come up with that documentation, and
Okay.
he didn't.
Gotcha.
It was-
That's what I was thinking. Want to make
Yeah,
sure.
the 46.65
Part of the agenda mentions presentation of change order. Is that?
And that was the proposed MPX change order for fencing through MPX
Okay, so that's not part of
that
this. So,
that we've done away with.
okay, I was hoping that change order was related back to the contract prior with Pyramid for the $21,500.
No, it
So
wasn't.
is that still in the works?
It needs to be.
It needs to be. I don't want this group to approve your last payment until that's done.
Well, I fully agree with you.
Okay,
I fully agree with you.
okay, all right.
So, and I think there's about 5,000 left.
There's only 5 left. Yeah, that's correct.
Fully agree. All right, anything else?
Thanks, Todd.
All right,
Appreciate
thank you guys.
it. All right. Melissa has been patiently waiting to get court services up here. Come join us, Melissa. Thank you.
Yeah, good morning. So pretrial service grant applications for 2023 are now open. And you might recall that this year's funding took an unexpected route when the funding had to be reprioritized due to the demand relative to the amount of funds available. As a result, the existing staff salaries, they were preserved with a cap of 30% of those individual salaries for fringe benefits, which created a deficit of $52,865 to cover the remaining benefits for the 3 probation officers that are currently paid out of the pretrial grant. Since then, the Indiana Office of Court Services and the Indiana Department of Corrections have been working closely together to place some parameters around the grant application and award process to determine grant awards and ensure that funding is not getting requested from both funding sources. The hope is that this will help to reduce the amount of funds requested and free up some funding. So because of the reduction in award funds this year and that the deficits were being paid out of the commissioner's budget, I wanted to bring this grant up to your attention before we applied for it. As I reviewed the application, I noticed that some of the items that were completely removed when they made those reductions, or those areas that were drastically reduced, were actually listed as allowable cost this year. With the Indiana Office of Court Services placing some parameters around the grant application award process, it would be my intention that we would apply for the full amount of funds that we've requested in the past. And then if the reductions are made, that we would have the Indiana Office of Court Services make those reductions. Rather than just applying for what we received this year, our intention is to apply for the full amount as we have in the past. With us not knowing when the award letters are going to be sent out, or if they're going to have reductions, it's going to require, I think, us to work collaboratively together and be proactive about anticipating the coverage of a remaining portion of benefits again in the future if that comes up. From my understanding, the benefits are paid from the commissioner's budget for all county employees. Should these reductions remain consistent from last year, I would communicate those immediately with the commissioner's office. So those numbers could be included either in your budget request if we're notified before budget season.
If we're not, I think we just make the assumption that we need to put that into the budget.
Yeah. Don't know if it's going to go that way, but I'd rather us be prepared for it rather than last year being surprised by it. I'm happy to share information about numbers about pretrial grant or pretrial services that the numbers we've served, the public safety rates that we're seeing here locally, court appearance rates, average length of pretrial supervision, what that means for jail overcrowding, if that's of interest to you guys. I'm a data person, so not everybody loves numbers.
I think it's good for us to know these things.
Sure.
We get asked these questions every once in a while, so
Sure.
it's not bad to have those numbers rattling around in our heads.
Sure. Yeah. So our public safety rates. So this measures the rate at which people commit new crimes while awaiting the disposition of their hearing, right, their case. Our overall public safety rate so let me kind of preface this. This is our reporting period would be from March 5th of 2018 to December 2nd of 2021. So that's our reporting period that we're measuring these numbers. So our public safety rate, the overall public safety rate during this period is 80%, which means you're only looking at 20% of those people committing a new offense while out on pretrial supervision. That's a new arrest. New arrest doesn't always mean that they're going to be, some people successfully complete pretrial supervision with a new arrest. So things can be adjusted that way as well. But that's it's a pretty good number as we look at the impact of pretrial services. So it's saying about 20% of pretrial services, clients on pretrial services commit that new offense while waiting. So core appearance rates. So according to the data that we collected, Grant County's overall percentage for defendants who completed supervision with no failure to appear is at 89%. So most people are appearing for their hearings. So they're getting released and they're showing up. They're not disappearing. Pretrial services average days on pretrial supervision during this reporting period was 215 days. So they get out and they spend about 215 days on pretrial supervision before their case is disposed of. This is for felony 3s to misdemeanors. So kind of some take a little bit longer to make it through the process than others. When we look at our funding history, so Pretrial Services Fund was established in July of 2017. We were awarded $313,197 over a 2-year period, and it funds 3 full-time probation officers, salaries, benefits, reimbursement for the public defenders, and training and travel for staff. Since that time, we've continued to get grant awards to cover those same items, with the exception of this last year where they cut out training and travel, made some reductions in the public defender, and then also made some reductions in the benefits package. But we've had those funds for several years now, and the total amount of those funds is $965,388.50. So that's a significant amount of grant funding that we've received since 2017. When we look at the jail impact, we are regularly at or above the capacity for our jail. Felony filings have increased significantly over the last few years, so that's continuing to get worse. Pretrial supervision is a critical part of the county's overall strategy to manage jail overcrowding. According to the Indiana Department of Corrections, the average cost of incarceration for someone in Indiana is about $52.61 a day. So when we're considering the current caseload under pretrial supervision, the average time that they spend, the 215 days, and then the cost associated at $52 per day, we're starting to look at pretrial services saving the county hundreds of thousands of dollars a year as you think about all those things coming together. When looking at all the people that have previously completed the program since its inception in 2017, it's a reasonable estimate that the total cost savings has been in the millions of dollars there for pretrial services. So that's kind of a quick snapshot of pretrial and kind of what we're doing there and what that means for the county in a larger scale. So I don't know if you have any other questions about pretrial services, or if there's an objection to moving forward with the application process for pretrial.
I wouldn't think there's an objection moving forward on the application. I just, you quoted 89% are making it through. That means 11% are failing to appear. Are we, lack of better terms, snagging those people, and because they fail to appear, they get put into the jail and then they're held until they actually appeared before? Is that why we have a higher population, or do we just have a large population of level 6 felonies that we're still taking care of because the state won't take them?
So we actually have some that actually complete even after a failure to appear. So some of them still remain on pretrial. So they have some of these built-in features where they have text reminders. So they get a text reminder of their court hearing. And so they're getting notification about that. Sometimes that helps just a little bit. But some of them will still complete with a failure to appear. Some of them, if they abscond, yeah, they're going to be found and brought into the local jail. It just kind of depends on the circumstances, whether they've made contact with their attorney. Maybe their attorney said, hey, yeah, I made contact with them. This is what's happening. And we set a new hearing. So it's really, so the short answer is it depends. So, but they can still complete with a failure to appear.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, I don't think we have any objection to corrections moving forward with this grant.
And then I also wanted to provide you some information about the grants in general that we've received in the past, and kind of get your feedback on what your parameters are in terms of for court services as it relates to grants that you're not really required to sign off on. Oftentimes, the turnaround time for these grants are not very lengthy, so there's a quick turnaround time. We know that this idea that complexity is the enemy of speed, right? And so we're looking at how to make the process less complex to that's still going to satisfy what you are looking for in terms of communication about grants. And I've got kind of I printed out the slide from Judge Spitzer's State of the Judiciary that kind of gives an overview of all the grant funds that Court Services has received. So in 2022, or 2021 actually, we received $1,996,919 in grant funding. So one option is for us to kind of review the grants that we've received and anticipate to apply annually. And then kind of, if that's helpful to know, many of these you're not required to sign off on. There are two federal ones that are coming through that are listed kind of under probation. So you have your BJA drug court grant. That's a 3-year grant that the commissioner signed off on at the inception of it. So it runs through 3 years. We're in year 2. And then we have the Family Recovery Court, which you would have signed off on and originally too. These other ones, when we look at the Indiana Office, so we love acronyms. IOCS is the Indiana Office of Court Services. So those are state grants there with a shorter turnaround time in the application process. So the biggest one that we receive is the pretrial services grant at this award is $203,873. This pays for 3 full-time probation officers, and then this year it's the 30% of their fringe benefits, and then local attorney fees for their meaningful first appearances. So that's what that fund pays for. We look at some of the other state ones, the Justice Partners one, that's a cap of $60,000. This year we changed it to look at salary benefits for a full-time peer recovery support specialist. We've actually just requested to amend that one to look at alternative uses for that funding source. And so it didn't turn out the way that we thought it would, so we pivoted and they're going to look at different options for those fundings for us. We have a drug court grant, the Veterans Treatment Court grant, the Family Recovery Court grant that's through Indiana Office of Court Services is overseen by Superior Court 2. But these are all looking at supporting programs that kind of day-to-day functions where it would be client services, whether it's incentives, training, education, things like that. So then we have the community corrections section. That's where you will hear from Chris Cunningham. He will be here to talk to you about those, to get authorization for those. Those are going to be things like the community corrections supervision, the court reduction, recidivism reduction program, and the jail treatment. So those are all going to come through community corrections, which you are going to be notified of, and then you're going to be asked to sign off on those grants as well. Some of the other local ones, for DART is a local one, and so we look at funds there on several different areas in court services as well. So those are the main ones that we oversee. And so I don't know if that's helpful for you, if that's something that you are looking at, what kind of your expectations are for us in terms of communication about these grants when they don't involve personnel or for you to sign off on.
I think a clear understanding of items that we need to sign off on. I know that our attorney has said any grants, and I know there's a caveat there with some of the judicial grants, but at some point, if we knew, if we had a renewal process, say we had 2 of these during the month of January, 3 of these or 4 of these during March, if we had just a calendar event of when these usually are applied for, re-up, I think it might be wise for the commissioners to endorse this grant process in an annual form so that we can just say, we understand that this money is available and coming into the county, recognize it from the executive as well as the council recognizing that as well. That way it doesn't surprise us when it pops up and, oh, we already signed off on that. Well,
Well, I'll go one step further. It needs to be done because this office is gonna my office is gonna handle all the cash in and out. And we want nothing going in and out that has not been approved to go in and out.
Yeah. So I think that's probably something that we need to develop, is to get this, just an annual snapshot of when these are applied for, and so we can endorse it and embrace that grant process.
Okay, so thinking, we can give you our best guess, I think, because they changed some of the dates for
Sure.
us. We didn't know pretrial award or grants were gonna open this early. Last year it was in the fall. So I don't know if it'd be helpful to say, these are the grants that are gonna happen over the year. Here's our best guess of when they'll be due. And then just kind of have that conversation. Is that helpful? Okay.
Yeah, we don't want to surprise the auditor's office, we don't want to surprise the council, we don't want to be surprised ourselves. And so if we've got a good idea that this is going to be happening this year, and, you know, here's the parameter on the grant funding, then we as our elected officials can endorse this.
Yeah, and it's a schedule change to the year. You just have to bring that change to them. I mean, you don't know if it's gonna change or not until it happens sometimes, but once that does happen, then it's a matter of coming back to let them know.
So could this be done like on an annual January, February thing where we say, these are the grants we're anticipating over the year?
I think that that's a good idea. Start it off at the beginning of the year or just at the end of the year, as we know it's the new cycle, even get it in December if we can.
So, for this year then?
As soon as possible.
Okay. So it's basically this information. So do you want it in written form, or are you wanting it presented?
Yeah, let's work over this next week and a half, see if Kyle can just develop some type of a resolution for us that would work for the commissioners and would work for the council as well. Phil might want to take a look at it and pipe in as well.
So you'll just let us know in terms of what that looks like. Happy to share that information with you. You know, many of the things that are going to come through here aren't going to require any action from the commissioners, just because it's going to be a funding that's going to be signed through one of the judges probably, or myself in the state. So those are local funds generally. The ones that you would need to sign off on, you already have, with the exception of the community corrections one. And that's already been well established, where Chris will come in and talk about those grants.
Couple thoughts. Mark, I don't know why you need a resolution. I mean, really it's more of just you're giving an approval as a body for this to happen. And my thought is there's no resolution necessary. I mean, it's a matter of just approval.
Well, I mean, technically a motion and or a resolution, same difference. We have to at least acknowledge that we're going to receive the funds.
Right. What I'm saying is I don't think you'd have to have some kind of specified written document from that your attorneys prepare. I mean, it's a matter of through action of this council, you've approved it. And there may be some things that they don't actually approve, but it's still dollars coming in and out of this, this county. So
that's why I'm thinking
to
resolution, because again, like Melissa said, we're dealing not only with judges signing off on a grant, but then you need to realize that commissioners are signing off on, you know, a third of the grants, where judges have these smaller grants that they're accepting, and you need to have that acknowledgement. So I think in some form or another.
You do what you want to do. I'm just saying you don't have to have a resolution, I don't think. But as long as whatever you guys want to do, then that's fine, just as long as you're approving it. So, yes.
Okay.
So right now, the two grants that are open are the Veterans Treatment Corp and the pretrial services. Now the Veterans Treatment Corp grant is not going to require any signature or anything like that. It's about really about training and client services.
Sometimes it might just be information, not asking for approval, what you're saying. And that's information's important as well.
But you need that information, say, oh, you're gonna have $12,000.
Yeah, we don't want to be surprised that somebody all of a sudden a check comes in, what's this for? We have no idea what this is. And you want to spend it on what?
Most of these have already established a fee or a fund number So, but it's not uncommon that they show up too without that
Right.
attached.
And at this point, a lot of those things already have been established, but still.
Right.
We need to be aware of that.
We've had the same good problems with the health department, and that the state, health department has sent money in here, and we're going, what in the world is that for? Because they're working on the fly and just sending money out and no recognition that, oh, we're gonna receive
Yeah,
this.
that happened last fall, one where even the state didn't know what it was for yet. I think that's
Right.
right, they were giving us money, we didn't know how to use it yet. So, yeah.
Appreciate your time.
Sure, yeah, so we're good with the pretrial services. We're and then
We're giving you consent on that, we'll get together a package and run it by you and make sure everybody's happy,
Okay,
including the judges.
yes, please. Okay, thank you.
Thank you. All right. Our ladies from Marion. Hey, lady, how you
Hey,
doing?
it's just me. Not many ladies, just one lady.
All right.
Thank you for having me. Good morning. So I get to talk about something fun and I don't have to ask for money for it or anything like that.
Even better.
So hopefully this won't take too long. But I do want to take a minute and just say thank you for all the people in the room. I think it's cool just to watch civic engagement happen, and it kind of just, I don't know, something about it touches me. So thank you for your work. I think it's cool to see us just function, all the moving parts. So yeah, I'm here for the city of Marion. The mayor has asked a couple of his employees to assist downtown stakeholders with hosting some events for downtown. And so we started last July doing these events. We kind of rally under the banner of Discover Marion Downtown. We have a Facebook page, and essentially I have some pieces of equipment or pieces of material to give you guys, so I guess I can just take those over to you. But basically I'm here to just request permission to use the downtown courthouse lawn. See, mine's all colorful too, and it gets a hint of those colorful stuff. There you go. Yep. There's no big numbers on there for you. So essentially the first thing on the little packet that I just handed you is the save the date card. We've been doing these once a month on the third weekend of the month, and we have kind of more passive events, but then we have 4 larger events. So the bold dates, starting in May, July, September, and November. Those are the dates that we'd like to be able to use the courthouse lawn to host some different pieces. The last piece of paper that I have gives you our first one, which will be the City of Marion's 190th birthday. And so we hope to have some music and entertainment, craft vendors, food trucks, inflatable obstacle course kind of things, face painting. We're going to be utilizing the 5th Street Commons as well, but we'd like to use the courthouse lawn for some of that. So each of those 4 events will kind of mirror the 190th birthday. They'll have some of those just more festival type things going on. The other thing that has a bunch of eggs on it, that's what's going on this month in April. And that's just an Easter egg hunt involving some of the different businesses with raffle prizes going on. And then there's a map of the different businesses that are going to be participating in that. So like I said, the save the date, the majority of these events are kind of passive and not really using the lawn, but those 4 dates in May, July, September, and November is when we'd like to be able to utilize the courthouse lawn for some of those festivities. So essentially that's the request. We hope to, we plan to clean up after ourselves. We'd like to maybe be able to plug in some of the food trucks and things like that, so if we could use your power boards for that. And then that's pretty much it. So I'll entertain any questions and
Just again, a reminder, is kind of, we do it each time, but realize that there are no available facilities.
to use the restroom?
Right.
Correct. Yeah, we've used the bus transportation, bus hub, forget what to call it. But yeah, the main station for our buses, we've had them open up sometimes for our bigger events, or we've gotten porta potties as well. So yeah, but thank you for that reminder.
So we're asking for the dates that are presented on the card and use of electrical outlets.
And if you need more information as those dates approach, I can be sure to get that through April or however you'd like that.
I just want to know if the mayor's going to get into the bounce house or not.
That'd be cool. I know one time when we had the birthday party, we slapped a cake in his face, so maybe we'll get something like that going too. So, but yeah, I can follow back with you on that if you'd like the correct information.
Gentlemen, we have this request in front of us. What's your thoughts? You want to make a motion? You're good? What?
I'm good, I'll make a motion to approve. And I second that.
Motion, Mr. Burton, second, Mr. Mowry. Any further discussion? All those in favor would say aye.
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 Thank you.
It is carried.
Thank you. Would you like any further information as those dates approach?
Absolutely.
Okay, I'll be
Absolutely.
sure to, is it okay if I send that through April?
Yes.
Okay, and then I do have one more small request. I worked with the Grant County Rescue Mission on a couple of like their little tasks, and they planned this, this Friday, April 8th. They won't be really on the lawn, but they're gonna do a soup on the square. And I didn't know if that needs to be approved as well, but I just told them I'd bring it up when I come to you guys.
I think it would be safe for us to
Okay.
acknowledge that there's going to be an activity on the square.
Then I guess I'd like to formally ask on their behalf. It'll be this Friday, at 11 a.m. They'll be on the northwest corner of the square. So it'd be like basically on the opposite end of the square. And they will just be serving soup, and it's all free, and they just wanna, kind of use it as a promotional tool for themselves.
Will they have any type of mobile catering truck or anything there? Or just
No, it just seems like they'll be showing up with, containers that'll, crock pots that'll have the soup in it, and they're just gonna serve it until they're out. So I don't even think they need it plugged in though. I think they've got like the little, basin underneath with the little flames. And I can give that to your health department as well, since there's food involved, which I'll do with all of these events that we're gonna have.
I think that we probably do need to acknowledge that and even get Vince involved. He may need to block off a few of those parking spots
Okay.
over there on the
I have
northwest
Vince's
corner.
number, so I can do that as well.
Yeah, just give me a copy of it.
Okay, oh yeah. I didn't even issue that.
All right.
You'll need to get a hold of him too, anytime electrical is needed.
Yes, okay.
Are we consenting to that request from the rescue mission?
Yes.
All right. You have our consent to
Okay.
move forward with that project as
Thank you.
well.
All right, I'll forward that to Rick after this. Thank you so much for having me.
Thank you.
Thank you for all you guys do.
All right. Bob's been waiting to come back and talk to us about a policy board appointment.
So you get a bowl of soup. Later.
End of the week, you can have that soup.
Okay. So yes, we have a request here from Grant County Mutual Aid, following the ordinance in place to put someone on the policy board, the communications policy board. Chief Virgil Hall passed in January, so Mutual Aid met in February, and they did have a vote among the county fire chiefs. And they selected Brad Daly to replace Chief Virgil Hall as their recommendation, and they just need your support or denial on that, however you'd like to proceed.
Technically, I think as we wrote up that particular ordinance, the representative is voted on by that local group, and we would acknowledge that he's to be seated on that. We don't do the appointment, they technically do, but we endorse that, so. Any problems endorsing Brad Daly?
No.
By consent, we are endorsing Brad, and thanks for not only what he does, but we appreciate Virgil and the things that he has done over the years, and want to honor his contribution to this as well.
Absolutely.
Thank you.
Thank you very much.
All right, next up, Justin, we're going to listen to you for a while.
Okay, handful of items here. Try to get through as fast as I can. As you know, we've had some issues with our mailing service. Long story short, we were using DMS. They were bought out by Midwest Pre-Sort, and they increased our fees by $75 a day, essentially. So there are no other companies that cover this area, so I've been looking into getting a actual metered piece of equipment on site. We'll go back to doing it in-house again. I have 2 quotes. You'll have a package from Quadient and a package from Pitney Bowes for packets there. Quadient gave us a monthly cost of $291.92. That is for a 5-year lease. Pitney Bowes came in a little cheaper than that. Question for you, commissioners. Are you even allowed to accept a 5-year lease?
Yes, that's about the extent. We can go 1 year over the longest term, 4 year, it's 4-year term, so we can go out 1 year past that.
And you can see with the quote from Pitney Bowes, the longer you go, the cheaper it is. They're coming in at, and it depends on the funding mechanism, but $274.09. Pitney Bowes, after I did the research, they seem to be a little more comprehensive. With Quadient, we would have to do our own laptop, supply our own stuff. With Pitney, that stuff, everything's included in that. That would be my recommendation.
Just kind of educate us here, what does it mean with purchase power versus without purchase power?
That's the funding mechanism. We can have an account already set up that we put money in and they take out of, or without, we just pay as normal, we get invoiced.
It seemed like we used an account where we put money in. Do you recall that, Mike?
I did.
It's been a while, but we've come first full circle because we were using Pitney Bowes and then we found this company that would save us money and then they close up shop. Ron, do you have a thought whether we should have an account with them that we put money in or just pay on a monthly invoice?
I prefer the monthly invoice.
That would be the cheaper of the two?
Yeah, I believe so.
Okay. Well, we know that we've been paying extra because you said $75 a day?
Yes, sir.
Since we lost the previous group, so we need to move forward on this, and Justin has done a good job of getting us the basic information. You have more questions on this, or you guys want to move on it? Okay. I'm thinking, again, that the 60-month term would be our best option since it's our cheapest price. And that is without purchase power, is that correct?
Yes, I believe so. And that, they said that this is for their P1000 model series. If we get into a lease, we find that it doesn't supply what we're needing, we can change within that.
Okay, I would entertain a motion that we go with Pitney Bowes lease proposal with the without purchase power for a 60-month term in the amount of $274.09 a month.
Motion to approve.
Second.
Motion, Mr. Burton, second, Mr. Mowry. Any further discussion on that?
Okay, I have one question for Justin. There's 2
Okay.
pages on here. I only see 1 line difference between the 2 pricing. It says 100 department accounting, but the one that's $10 a month cheaper than the other one. Do you see that? Okay, so I know what the difference between those 2 pages are, because one is $264.46, one's $274.09 a month. And we're approving the $274.09, it sounds like.
I am not sure why that's in there, to be honest. We should only have 1 quote.
As I look at the line items that are different between those 2 pages, there's only 1 line I see different.
Yep.
One says 100 department accounting, what we're approving. The other didn't have it on there, so I'm not sure what that means.
I'll have to get back to you.
I mean, maybe it's okay, I just noticed that, so one was $10 cheaper than the other.
I'm trying to discern,
I personally don't see why it's in there.
everything's doubled except the prices,
Mm-hmm.
or duplicated, I should say.
Yeah, duplicated.
I can call our rep and see what this is about, update you at the next meeting. If you want to consider, once I find out the information, maybe doing a pre-approval.
Yeah, because we're talking almost $1,000 in 2 weeks
There's a lot of money there, yeah.
to postpone this, so.
So once I find out, I can come back to you and then we'll ratify at the next meeting.
Make her the motion and the second, would you allow us, if we clear up the $10 discrepancy, to move forward with this contract?
Yes.
If there is, because once we pull the trigger, there's a 2 to 3 week turnaround to order the equipment, get it here, get it installed.
Which is another $1,000. Yeah. So, all those in favor would say aye.
Aye.
Aye, it is carried.
It takes a lot of $10 months to add to $1,000.
Mr. President,
Yes, sir.
while you're talking about mail service, just as a councilman, and I've had some difficulty getting my packet monthly for my meeting. And it's not the auditor's office and it's not those people. It's somewhere in the mail system, whether it's the county mail or whether it's the federal mail. I have a feeling it's somewhere in the county mail system, not the postal service, because I can get all the rest of my mail pretty good. They're getting it into wherever it goes. I don't know how it all works. But somehow this system, maybe it's because you're vendors, and maybe that's the problem.
Yes, it is.
Maybe this will take care of that, but
Yes.
I applaud the change if that's the case.
We were having the same problem with the court system. Checks that were coming in very late, and the current company that's been absorbed and now not going to serve us, the delay has been there, and so we're, again, going back to the way we used to do it because it was more efficient. And while we won't save as much money, it's going to get the job done.
Very good. Thank you. I just wanted to add.
We were looking for because same thing with jury notices and all that, we're having problems. So we were looking for an alternative, but now
Very
we're
good.
forced.
Thank you.
So.
Thank you.
Health
Sorry to
screening.
interrupt.
Oh, no. Health screening proposal.
So we've been in talks with Marion Health. As you know, with the new insurance with UMR, we have a direct contract with Marion Health that provides a low deductible, discounted services. We've been talking to them about on-site health screenings. Basically, this would be step one of the wellness. So they're willing to come on site and give physicals, draw blood. We would have it set up with partitions in here. And it would actually be at a discounted rate, asking for the county to pay up front for the employees. So if someone were to come through, they're quoting us $25 a person, as opposed to if Auditor McWhirter goes to the doctor's office, he submits that through insurance. We're self-funded, so we're still going to be paying $110 for him to go get that done, as opposed to if we do it here, $25 a person. It's definitely a good thing. We're trying to reach an audience that maybe wouldn't get this done otherwise. We'd offer it during work hours. We obviously have to schedule and get that all arranged and with Marion Health, but we've been in talks, 2 different meetings now, and they're more willing to offer that benefit. So I guess I'm asking if you think that's a good idea as commissioners, and in what type of capacity do we just offer it for, if we're to move forward, full-time employees, all employees, or those just umbrellaed that cover the county's insurance?
when it comes to our part-time employees, right now, they aren't offered health insurance benefits, is that correct?
That's correct.
My first thought, it kind of, they say it's a no-brainer, but if we can pay $25 for an employee or a covered spouse in the wellness program instead of paying $120, it just makes sense for us to save that money, and we have a benefit of hopefully getting more people actually into the wellness program. That saves them money if they start into that process for next year, if they're not currently a participant. So it's very few times that I say this, but this is almost a win-win for everybody.
And Marion Health is making it even easier to where they're gonna submit the results to our third-party WellWorks, to where the employee wouldn't have to send anything in.
They'll file the paperwork for us.
Yep. So, and if you would like to do that moving forward, I think would probably be a good idea. This is later on into the year. I mean, this was offered even at the end of last year as far as starting your WellWorks discount. But I'd like to set this up annually if we get the participation.
I think it's a smart idea. I actually did my WellWorks early this year because I wanted to start off right. And so my WellWorks cost $120 is being billed for my position, whereas if I would have just waited a little bit, it would have just been $25 that the county paid for my wellness visit. So I like the idea.
Would they set like one day a week or one day a month, or I mean, how would?
I would just advertise, and we'd probably do it all within there a couple of days. Just
Oh, for the year, a couple days in the year, you mean everybody's coming into that
Yeah.
couple day period?
Just one massive event, yeah.
I got you, okay, I see what you mean. And ones that are covered only is what we're talking about, employees that are covered and their spouses and all that,
that would be their decision.
their dependents.
My thought would be any employee or spouse that is eligible for the wellness program. That's the children, they wouldn't be a part of the wellness program. Just the employee and their spouse would be available for that.
And
At least
again,
that's my thought.
We're trying to reach a different audience and get some more participation.
You're trying to get the employees that are covered by the health plan now to participate in that system, so it covers the people that are employed now, or that are enrolled now.
Yeah, anyone that is eligible for wellness, I think that's our target.
And yeah, it's an anticipation of them finishing the rest of the requirements to get the discount and.
We understand that, because there are some that don't go get the annual physical.
Right.
Just to give them a chance to do it at a more convenient time.
And they're paying, what, $60 more?
30 more a month for the individual. If their spouse doesn't do it, yeah, it's 60. But it's good for the employee and the county to have healthy employees to get that screened ahead of time.
I don't know if you want to do that now. Do we have, will it be just a memorandum of understanding, or will there actually be a contract with Marion Health?
I think I can get a hold of Kyle at Marion Health. They'll give us some type of memorandum.
If we could go to that next step and get a memorandum of understanding, and we can have it reviewed and bring it back for some kind of action.
Right.
Okay? All righty, what next, Justin?
We'll move forward with that. Thank you. So in your packets, there's an email from Howard County Surveyor requesting data. I believe did you already present this at the Drainage Board?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes. They have no objections because county drainage boards, especially shared drains, we either receive water from the 9 counties around us, or we give some water to the 9 counties around us. So it would be appropriate for us to release this information to Grant County, or Howard County, excuse me. We just need either a motion or a consent to do such.
Motion to consent.
We have consent? All right, by unanimous consent, we will allow Schneider Corporation to release that information to Howard County Deputy Surveyor Greg Lake. Right.
Next item, and you guys are actually more familiar with this than I am, the fuel tax agreement for EMS.
We have discovered that we can, we do, unfortunately, and I really don't know what the tax is, but there is a hidden tax on certain fuels, and our EMS uses that certain type of fuel, and so we are still charged tax. It's called did Dawn call it a hidden tax or a secret tax?
She called it a secret.
A secret tax, but we can reclaim that through giving Malicon a power of attorney. He's done reclaiming from court records, expenses, other things that EMS as well as the Highway Department has done. And so, again, Mr. Malinowski can actually help retrieve some of these fuel surcharge tax, excise tax charges. So we've been doing that for how many years? I don't know, Mike.
Several.
We've used him, and I would recommend that we move to approve this agreement with the Malinowski Consulting Group, Malcon.
So moved.
Second.
Motion, Mr. Burton, second, Mr. Mowry. All those in favor would say aye.
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 Aye. Do we just need one signature, or all three of us on that, Justin? I see 3 places, so,
I think it's everybody.
okay. We'll make sure we get that signed before we get out of here today.
Okay, and last item, policy change proposal regarding the sick bank. This has been talked about for quite a while now. Basically, you have in your packets the current sick bank policy with some revisions, some language taken out. That would be option number 1. Option number 2 would be to take this policy and change it to some type of donation. There are some issues with that as well. Option 3 would be to eliminate it completely. The policy committee opted for a donation type of policy. I would say at minimum, to remove the language would be a minimal action needed. But you guys, I guess, tell me which direction you would like to go, and I'll start heading there.
Well, I'm definitely not for elimination at this point because we don't have anything to replace it yet. I think the donation policy we probably need to discuss further, but I would be in favor of withdrawing the current wording that requires a newly hired full-timer to immediately be drafted into that. That would be my recommendation, is that we just strike that out of the policy at this time and then review the donation policy at another time.
So moved.
Motion with support to strike. Second, Mr. Mowry. Any further discussion on that? Hearing none, all those in favor would say aye.
Aye.
Aye. He knew we were gonna say yes, didn't he? All right. Do you have any other new business that we need to add?
No.
You've been troopers today. We've gotten a lot done. Just before we go to public comment, we do have our next scheduled meeting will be April the 18th, not the 17th. All right. This is a public hearing, and if you would like to, a public meeting, and if you would like to address the Board of Commissioners, we invite you to the podium to present your name, your address, and concerns or comments. Anyone online? Hearing none, we will be in recess. We're looking forward to seeing what happens at Dairy Plan tonight. There'll be an interesting discussion there, so we will see you soon. Thank you much.
That's fairground, right?
I think that's fairground, yes, sir. That was one,
Yeah.
Dairy Plan, I think is 6 or 7 tonight.
Well,
I wanted to say 6.
I was thinking